Now, 2 weeks ago, we had the British Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines on the show to give us a preview of their first ever virtual trade mission. We don't want to leave you hanging, so we're having BCCP Chairman Chris Nelson back on this morning to give us the score. Hi, Chris. Good morning, and congratulations on what I heard was a truly successful trade mission.
Well, good morning to you and your viewers. And yes, we're very pleased with our first virtual trade mission, and we're looking to do another one in March, hopefully.
Okay, so give us the lowdown on the first one that just was completed. I know that there were around 30 participants who attended from the auto industry, education, food and beverage, IT, as well as services like consulting, HR, and property management. How many deals, Chris, are you realistically expecting to materialize out of the first trade mission?
Okay, so first of all, it went better than we expected. And obviously, this is a substitute for physical events. The key now is, because I had one-to-ones and now we're now arranging further in-depth discussions. Realistically, I would hope to do at least one or two. I think there's opportunities clearly in food and drink and retailing. And the other thing I would emphasize is including new companies. We also have companies who do business already. And I think that's another opportunity to see how we can further accelerate that business. So, yeah, we're very pleased. We now have to do the follow-up work. But it's good to see that British companies are continuing to have interest in the Philippines, and we're continuing to promote. And I think that's very essential at this time.
Okay, Chris, you know, the Philippines has the 18th highest COVID case count today, with over 300,000 cases, and the UK is at number 12 with nearly double our case count. I'm just curious, what's the sentiment among investors, the British businessmen? How bullish are they, and what sort of time horizon are they looking at today before things normalize?
So, yeah, so first of all, let's take the UK situation. I think, obviously, the businesses there are very concerned, particularly within the hospitality sector. You're probably familiar, the UK is going through a kind of traffic-like system on localized lockdowns. With regard to the Philippines, the cases, I think, if I'm not mistaken, are around about just below 2,500. I think the way we have stressed it, and I think that's important, is to look at the longer term. Let's not forget, the Philippines was growing pre-pandemic at over 6%. We think there's great opportunities. And sure, there are challenges in the short term, both in the UK and in the Philippines. But if you look longer term, the opportunities in the Philippines, population of 110, very well educated, a lot of talent, rising consumer market, opportunities in the manufacturing sector, opportunities in obviously the consulting sector. I think that's how we are placing it, and that's how companies are looking at it.
And Chris, for investors looking to put their money down, they're probably, scanning the news outlets for news on how the Philippines, the businesses here and the government are conducting business. And here are some of the issues they may raise. For example, government assistance to ailing companies during the pandemic. Now there are calls for government to help subsidize 13-month pay for employees. You've got tax reforms that seem to be in the back burner for now, but could be brought back on the table just as soon as the economy normalizes.
Yes, look, I mean, let's take some of those points. I mean, for example, we have obviously been engaging with the different members of government and Congress. We've had lots of discussion on the Arise bill. We've had discussions, of course, the economic team have been on regarding their view. We obviously want to see a lot of support. Let's not forget, the Philippine economy, 90% are SMEs and SMEs, and the British Chamber reflects at about 50%. So we want to see support there. I also think, and we want to stress here, about giving longer term signals. So we want to see foreign direct investment going up, and that's why we keep on stressing and support the Department of Trade and Investment for the push to get the retail liberalization bill passed. This will be another good signal to investors. And I think that's the way we have to plan this to go forward. And obviously keep engaging with all our chamber network in the UK, our business associates, to really keep the Philippines as much as it can be in the foremost of companies. That's our role.
Chris, I just wanted to go back to the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, which is supposed to lower the minimum requirement capital of these British companies before they are allowed to get in. to a lower number, which means the gates will open further for British firms to come in, posing potential risks to MSMEs here in the Philippines who are already struggling. Do you think that this pandemic and the challenges that they've raised or posed to our MSMEs will sort of push that back a bit when it comes to priorities to try to protect the MSMEs locally?
Well, I don't think so. I think, if anything, we've always been of the view competition will actually help. Let's not forget, the companies that will come in, if they do, will be, I don't think they're going to compete with the small retail stores. I think what you're going to see actually is a good signal. I think it'll be the larger opportunities. I think it will see more partnerships. I actually see more brands coming in. So I think it's actually going to be positive. In terms of SMEs and SMEs, look, yeah, we agree with support, but I think the Retail Liberalization Act will actually assist, not overall, because I think what it'll do is it will help competition. It won't pressure MSCs and SMEs, but it will bring in larger stores, and you will see more of the retail brands of the UK.
Okay. Final question. Stronger ties with other partners must be top priority for the UK today as Britain prepares to exit from the EU. Well, it hasn't, in fact, but the transition period ends this year. A no-deal Brexit, Chris, how real is it today? I know that the clock is ticking. You must be feeling the pressure too.
Well, we are. I mean, let's not forget. The UK's trade with the EU is over 50%. And I think it's in everybody's interest to have a deal. And I think also for the British Chamber of Commerce, who is our main head chamber that we liaise strongly with, has always made this point that UK companies need to know well in advance what those arrangements will be, because the planning and the logistics. Now, on the other hand, of course, these discussions have made companies and continue to make companies look at other longer-term trading, and that is an opportunity for the Philippines. So I would like, obviously, to see a deal made. At the same time, I think it also reinforces the opportunities in Southeast Asia. And again, I have to say, what we're trying to do is position Philippines to be that gateway. And that's how we've got to keep on discussing, and we are discussing it with our partners. Okay,
on that note, thank you very much, Chris, for joining us this morning, and have a great weekend.
You too, and thanks again for the time, and wishing a good weekend to all your viewers as well.
Thank you, Chris.